So, what if our history books are wrong? I mean, not just a little bit wrong, but off by tens of thousands of years. In this explainer, we're going to journey through a truly radical new timeline of antiquity, one that challenges literally everything we think we know about where we come from. For centuries, we've all been taught the civilization is only about 5,000 years old, that the great epics, things like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, were just myths. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the sky itself holds a hidden record? A record that history somehow forgot? Well, the key to unlocking all of this is a fascinating field called forensic astronomy. The idea is, honestly, it's brilliant. See, these ancient texts are packed with really specific descriptions of the stars, eclipses, you name it. And since the movements of the planets and stars are perfectly predictable, we can use modern software to essentially rewind the sky. We can go back in time and find the one exact moment when the view from Earth matched those ancient descriptions. It's like a cosmic time machine. All right, so let's dive in and look at the timeline this method reveals. It's a history written not in stone, but in starlight. And it pushes our origins back so much further than you can probably imagine. Okay, take a look at this. This is where you can really see just how wild this new timeline is. On one side, you've got conventional history, which kicks off around 3000 BCE. But this new research, it proposes a timeline that starts almost 75,000 years ago, with a giant volcanic eruption. It puts epic events like the Ramayana War more than 14,000 years in the past, and it gives the Mahabharata War a super specific date, 5561 BCE. So this new story, our story, begins right here, 74,000 BCE, and it starts with an absolute cataclysm, an event that nearly erased humanity from the face of the Earth. Imagine this. The Toba supervolcano in Sumatra blows its top. It's so big it triggers a volcanic winter that literally darkens the globe. The human population just collapses. It creates what scientists call a genetic bottleneck, which is just a way of saying our entire species was squeezed down to maybe just a few thousand people. And according to this research, a tiny group of survivors managed to cling to life in India's Narmada Valley. But here's the amazing part. Humanity did way more than just survive. Out of the ashes of that disaster, a new civilization slowly began to take shape during the Ice Age, and it was a civilization built around two crucial skills: seafaring and stargazing. And this is where things get really mind-blowing. By 40,000 BCE, think about that for a second, these early humans are already making sophisticated astronomical observations. They're able to identify the Tropic of Cancer as a key celestial line, and this incredible focus on tracking the cycles of the cosmos gives birth to one of their oldest cultural ideas, the concept of Shiva as the timekeeper. Then, around 26,000 BCE, a huge event in the night sky triggers a huge cultural shift on the ground. Because of the slow wobble of the Earth's axis, it's a process called precession, kind of like a spinning top. The super bright star Canopus, known in the texts as Agastya, became visible from central India for the very first time. And this celestial event gets woven into their story as a great sage, Agastya, who travels south and unifies the people of the north and south. So they weren't just looking at the stars, right? They were using them. They were navigating by them. The texts talk about advanced seafaring as far back as 19,000 BCE. Now, this was only possible because, being the Ice Age, sea levels were much lower, creating new coastlines and making ocean crossings way shorter. And the researchers point to a really tantalizing clue, this massive trident geoglyph in Peru. They suggest it could be a marker from an ancient voyage to what their text called Patala, or the other side of the world. Okay, so all of this incredibly deep history, it's all building up to something. It sets the stage for what might be one of the most stunning claims in all of this research, pinpointing an exact date for one of the world's oldest and most famous epic poems, the Ramayana. So by taking more than 600 distinct astronomical clues from the text, we're talking eclipses, the positions of planets, specific constellations, the research zeroes in on the climatic war of the Ramayana, and it all points to one single year, 12,209 BCE. Now, to get our heads around this, you have to completely reboot your mental map of the planet. Back in 12,209 BCE, the world was deep in its last ice age. Sea levels were over 300 feet lower than they are today. That's a 30-story building underwater. There were massive land bridges connecting places that are now separated by vast oceans. It was a totally different world. And this strange new geography is the key to another radical claim. So most people today identify Ravana's kingdom of Lanka with modern-day Sri Lanka, right? Well, the thing is, the descriptions in the actual text don't really fit. The Ramayana talks about a huge island kingdom located right on the equator, way out west of the Maldives. According to this theory, the real Lanka wasn't Sri Lanka at all. It was a massive landmass that is now completely gone, submerged beneath the Indian Ocean. But, of course, that Ice Age world, it couldn't last forever. The planet started to warm up, the great ice sheets began to melt, and that triggered a period of unbelievable cataclysms, which set the stage for the next great war of the ancient world. So, this ancient world pretty much ended in water, lots and lots of water. As the planet warmed up fast at the end of a final cold snap, the continental ice sheets just melted. The result was a totally catastrophic rise in sea levels. You know, all those great flood myths you find in cultures all over the globe. Well, this was very likely it. Coastal civilizations were just swallowed whole, and according to the theory, the great island of Lanka vanished forever beneath the waves. So now you have this new, post-flood world. Land is disappearing, resources are getting scarce, people are being displaced, so what happens next? Conflict. Tensions just boil over, and the research dates the Mahabharata War, another one of these cornerstone epics, to the year 5561 BCE. And you can forget any idea of this being some small local tribal dispute. According to the text, this was, for all intents and purposes, a world war for its time. You had armies converging on the battlefield of Kurukshetra from incredible distances, from the Yavanas in the west, which are identified as areas in modern-day Turkey or Syria, all the way to Prag-Jyotish in the east, which is near today's China and Assam. The final act of this epic age is just tragic. 36 years after the Great War, in the year 5525 BCE, the ocean claims one final legendary prize. Krishna's capital city, Dwarka, right on the coast of modern-day Gujarat, is submerged by the still-rising seas. And the craziest part? This was exactly what the Mahabharata text prophesied would happen. And this leads us to the final and maybe most important part of our story. The search for actual physical proof of this sunken past, this buried legacy. Because you see, this isn't just about theories from old books and star charts. In the 20th century, marine archaeologists exploring off the coast of India discovered the submerged ruins of a massive, ancient city right where the text said Dwarka would be. Just as it was prophesied, the stones are still there. And this brings us right to the heart of this entire body of research, this complete reframing of who we are. It's the idea that we are not a young civilization. We are an ancient one waking up to our own memory. So where does this all leave us? What does it all mean? Well, this research challenges the very foundations of history. It asks us to read these ancient epics not as simple myths, but as a kind of collective memory. And it leaves us with one heck of a profound question. Are we a young civilization just getting started? Or are we a much, much older one, an ancient people with a deep, forgotten past, who are only now, finally, beginning to wake up?